Hello, students. I hope you can hear me and see me well. Please let me know in the chat. I am your teacher today, and welcome to Ielts Academic Writing Task 1 Explained. I am your teacher, Robin Shaw, and I am going to explain all of Task 1 in as much detail as I can and as basic as I can. So there's a lot of information in this lesson, but we'll get through it. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand what you need to do for task 1. And what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to have I'm going to give a kind of overview of what's going on with the task 1. I'm going to talk about the writing structure for task 1. I'm going to show you some writing samples. I'm going to talk about the scoring. And of course, at the end, you're going to have homework. So lots to do in this lesson. I'll just check the chat quickly, check which students are here. We see Layla's here. Welcome. Mernawati, Salap, hello. Welcome. Lavania's here. Sally Mae. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Going down, lots of chat going on. Anna Maria, at least Anna Maria said hello to me first. That's always good. Okay. What's the difference between charts and tables? We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a moment. And we have a progressive farmers of India. Is that one person or is that a group of people watching me right now? And Layla, thank you for telling me I can hear you and see you. That's my cue to start. Let's see if I can. That's a good spot. Okay. All right. Task 1. Task 1 and task 2. This is what you need to do for writing. You have 60 minutes. Task 1 is what I'm going to talk about in this lesson. Task 1 is the shorter part of the writing task. That's, out of the 60 minutes, you should spend 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. Task 2 is is bigger. It's an essay, so it requires more time. And task 1 and task 2 are both very different in what they're asking from you in regards to writing. But they are both testing your writing skills. Like this is truly testing to make sure you can get data, interpret data, and summarize data, and paraphrase data, and use synonyms and all that you need to do for writing with great sentences and perfect spelling. So 20 minutes on this task, and no kidding, you don't want to waste too much time on this task because you got 60 minutes total. You don't want to spend, maximum would be 25 minutes. But if you're going over 25 minutes on this task, big trouble. You're not giving yourself enough time for task 2, the essay, which requires more time. So how do you make sure you can do this in 20 minutes? You practice, right? You practice task 1 over and over and over. Get used to the kind of language you need to do. How you make the paragraphs. With practice, you'll be able to get it done in 20 minutes or less, hopefully. And task 1 here, you're going to describe graphs, charts, and tables. Basically, they're all the same thing. They're going to give data, some graphic representation of data, except tables will be just data. I'll show you in a moment. I have some examples. You have to write 150 words minimum. You should write over 150 words, maybe around 160 words. Again, don't count your words. You'll just know this. If you practice enough, you'll know the approximate size of what it should be. Um, and the final point here, this task tests, that's three T's. This task tests, please try to say that three times. This task tests, this task tests your ability to select and report the main features, I can't speak. I'm glad this is not a speaking lesson. This task tests your ability to select and report the main features, to describe and compare data, identify significance and trends in factual information, or describe a process. Now, what does that all mean? Well, you're dealing with facts. Task one is going to give you data, information, facts, and you gotta look at this data and you gotta summarize it and give an overview of it. Don't worry, we're gonna go into that in a moment, and it'll make more sense. But you gotta be able to look at data and understand what the data is trying to show us. So look at this bar chart or bar graph. You might see it called bar chart. You might see it called a bar graph. So this is an example of data and is represented in a bar graph. And you will have to look at this information and you will have to, take out what is it talking about? What is it showing us? And you have to decide all of this, and then you have to write about it. You have to summarize it, and then you have to point out trends and things that are significant in the data. So I don't know if you can read that. Maybe I'll put it full screen. The chart below shows the results of a survey about people's coffee and tea buying and drinking habits in 5 Australian cities. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. All right, now don't let the wording of that scare you. They all follow similar wording. You'll get used to it. Um, so first of all, you want to make sure you understand what it's talking about. It says summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. All right, then we get into the bar graph here. And you have to get used to, I'm not going to go into detail on how to read each bar graph here, but you have to practice reading graphs and talking about graphs in Ielts Task 1. And you're thinking, well, that might be difficult. No, this is good. These are good skills to learn. They're going to help you. They'll help you with the IELTS, but they'll certainly help you beyond IELTS and just your English alone, being able to look at data, interpret it, summarize it, understand it, and help other people understand it. All right, so I'm not going to go into too much detail in this one. So that's just an example of a chart bar graph. You got to look at the data on the left going up, percentage of city residents, glowing along the bottom. We have different cities in Australia, and then each bar has different meaning. And you got to go through that quickly. You got to be able to read this information quickly. All right, before I move on, I'm just going to catch up with the chat. Maybe a lot of you are scared of task 1 now. Task 1 is not that bad. Again, once you get used to it, and I have homework at the end, so you're going to be able to practice task 1. Eunice is here. I'm very interested in this part of writing. I would like to know more about connectors, giving arguments and examples. Please, Robin, give us some tips and tricks to master writing in English. Yes, these videos James and I are doing are, we can't give all the information in one video. So certainly we got to start with, what's happening in this task. And then in a later view, we go into more detail, and then another video, even more detail. So this is not the last video on task one. We will need a few more videos on task one. So I'll try to give you as much information as I can in this video. Julio, hello, welcome. Kumar Allison, welcome, welcome. Yeah, when I see this graph, I feel scared. It sounds complicated. Well, Layla, first of all, you got to keep positive. Uh, you're using negative words here, and you cannot be doing this when you're studying for Ielts. So you're using words like scared and complicated. Those words are useless to us right now. They are not going to help us get better. They're just going to. You got to flip that negative attitude. Everyone here, don't think like that. Think positive. Hey, Robin's here. He's going to help us get through this. This is a challenge. I'm not going to understand it perfectly this video, but I'm going to try to increase my knowledge a little bit. All right. Don't be negative. We cannot have, IELTS is important. You got to stay positive. Understand it's a challenge. Step by step, get better. Nobody's going to be perfect the first time, but at least you have a first time. You're trying to get better. We should study data science. Well, this is at a basic level. Everyone here can read these charts and graphs. You can read it. It just takes a little practice. I think it's very helpful for jobs and academic stuff. It's essential for jobs and academic stuff. And of course, if it's also useful for your general English. Hello, Alyssa. Hello. Okay, I'm all caught up. So that's a bar chart, bar graph. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I just wanted to show you. This is a line graph. So they're going to show information different ways. Bar graph, line graph. And again, you have to be able to read what's going on in this graph. Look at the left, look at the bottom, look what they're talking about, and try to find trends or interesting or significant information that pops out because of this information, things like that. Now, this is a table. Now you can see the difference what a table is. A table is there's no visual representation. A table is just data. So we just have numbers on a table. And again, you look at cities, London, and date open, kilometers of route, passengers per year in millions. So it says the table shows data about underground railway systems in 6 major cities with date open, kilometers of route, and passengers numbers per year in millions. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, making comparisons where relevant. Okay, so again, comparing these different cities and comparing the different data where relevant. So not all of it, where it's relevant where it's special, it looks different, it's something that we should talk about. So again, you're going to have to look at this data, start writing. So again, we're not going to go into detail for this one. Alyssa's okay. Yeah, Alyssa's listening on the screen. There's a chart with data, but I'm not going over the data, so it's not important. Okay, on the screen now is a pie chart. They might give you a pie chart. Comparing information. So they have online sales for retail sectors in New Zealand, 2003, 2013. They do give a legend, yes. Then the best way to face IELTS is to be relaxed and calm as much as we can. It's a journey, Layla. It's not You know what in mass, like I said in almost all of my videos, you need months to prepare. Some people can prepare in a month, but probably they're already a high level. But I think most people should be starting to prepare 6 months or prior to their test, because they're not going to get all this stuff immediately, right? It's a hard test. Like, they're giving challenging tasks here. I would recommend a year before. Some people do more than a year, 2 years. Some people study 2 years and they never get band seven. Some people study 1 month and they get band eight. It's up to the individual, their level, but yeah, it's a long process, Layla. So if you feel, oh, this is scary and complicated, it's the first time you're looking at it. 6 months from now, when you watched 30 videos about this, you'll be like, oh, this is too easy. Yes, there's many kinds of charts. I'll keep going here. So there's also maps, and you don't know what they're going to have on the IELTS test. So they might have a map here with the key golf course and give some question related to that. So going back, we have bar charts and line graphs and tables and even a pie chart and a map. Task one will have something like that. You will see it. You have to get the information from it as quick as possible, and you have to start writing. I remember we learned about these in statistics lesson. Yeah, you probably in your whatever country you are in your education, you probably learned about charts or graphs. Um, these will they're not super easy. They can be a little challenging, but again, you are trying to take IELTS to go to university or get a job in another country. So you should be at a level where you can get data and summarize that data in a written form and spoken form if you can too. Beauty Queen Land. Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm in mathematics class. Now, I'm terrible at math, but I can still read a chart. We'll practice that in a moment. Okay. So, task one, organization. The first thing you have to do is you look at the chart and you have to paraphrase the question and what the chart is about. So, and use synonyms if possible. The IELTS test loves synonyms. Wherever you can use synonyms for writing and speaking, do it, including task one, if possible. Sometimes it's not possible. So when you look at the chart, yeah, right away, they're giving you information and they're giving you the chart here. So you got to kind of summarize the question, what's going on. The second thing there is write an overview. Pick 3 or 4 of the main features and write about them generally without referencing any data. So if we go back, online sales for retail sectors in New Zealand. So one thing I could say, certainly the travel, there was a decrease from 2003 to 2013. That might pop out, or you could look at film, music, any of those things. And then the third point there, support the main features in a new paragraph, support the key features with the data in the information you're given. So again, you want to summarize or paraphrase what's happening with the instructions, the chart, talk about a general trend of the charts. use data to support you in the other paragraph. And I know a lot of you are, what do I do? What do I do? Relax. We're going to practice this later. Then how much students will pass depends on their level and abilities at English. It's different from one to one. Uh, you are, if everyone is properly preparing for the IELTS, you are learning how to. You're learning not just English skills. You're learning how to interpret data and summarize it. So again, if a native speaker did not prepare for an IELTS test and they just suddenly saw a chart, you know, they might not get a perfect score because they didn't practice how to do this. Each part of the IELTS test requires practice to practice the format and form and understand and practice the timing, get the timing, how much time I'm going to spend. I'm going to spend 20 minutes on this. That's it. So it's your English, it's a combination of your English, how much time you practice, but also your general knowledge. You have to know things like how to read a chart, which is, can you do this in your own language is the question. Can you look at this chart and interpret it in your own language? If the answer is no, well, that's a skill you have to start learning. Relax is a main issue. It's good to know how this works before the exam when we have the chance to practice. When you enter the IELTS exam, you should be relaxed, ready, and confident. You should not be going into the exam feeling stressed, feeling, I didn't have enough time to prepare, or I don't know what I'm doing. It's a very expensive test. Prepare. All right, so summarize the question, general overview, start picking out the specific data to help your to help how you're summarizing the data. And the fourth thing here is you don't need a conclusion. This is not really an essay, and you do not give your opinion, right? This is just looking at data and getting information from the data, no opinion. You do not give an opinion why online sales increased. Do not give an opinion. Just talk about the facts of the chart. All right. So warning, timing is important. Some students spend too long on task 1. They don't have enough time for task 2. Yes. So again, practice. Get it done in 20 minutes. Doesn't matter the quality. What the quality is, whatever it is, but you get it done in 20 minutes. So you have to practice that, getting faster, quicker, timing yourself, get that done in 20 minutes. If you need a little more than 20 minutes, okay. But if you're going beyond 25 minutes, big problem for task 2. So you should practice writing task 1 in 20 minutes. Practice. And the third thing there, if you spend too long on task 1, you won't have enough time to answer part 2 adequately. So yeah. Part 2 is the bigger essay. So you need all the time you can get for part 2, because that's going to be more writing, a little more difficult. All right, let's look at this one together. So you tell me, what do you notice about this bar graph? What do you notice? Are there any trends or anything you notice from here? I'm not sure if you can see it clearly. So let's look at the title. Holiday leisure activities. All right, starting with the title, leisure activities, that's like recreation. Let's look at the left side. It says number of hours 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. Then we have Chinese tourists, American tourists, Turkish tourists, Brazilian tourists. Okay. Then we have the blue is at the beach, the orange is reading books, and the gray is visiting places. So, what do we see from this bar graph? Anna Maria says the Chinese read a lot. Okay, well, let's take a look. So, their holiday, the Chinese read a lot. Yes, we can see the orange. The Chinese read 8 hours uh, during their holiday. That's one of their holiday leisure activities. Okay. What else do you know? Brazilians like the beach. All right. So they like the beach. Let's compare. They like the beach more than the other tourists. So certainly, oh, sorry. So if we look, blue is at the beach. Brazilians, they like the beach more than the other country tourists. Holiday in Shires is the highest 8, reading a lot. Yeah, they read the most. 8 hours. That's the highest for the holidays. Visiting places is in the lower level for Chinese. So the Chinese tourists, very high on the reading and very low for visiting places. Again, we don't want to give an opinion of why that is. We just talk about the data. American and Turkish are equal in visiting. Okay. Again, we don't want to speculate why. All right. Visiting places is in the middle, a little in Brazil. Okay. So, yeah, we don't want to go into every part of this. So let's take a look. I didn't have the question there. I didn't have room for the question, but here is a sample writing, and I'm just going to read it out. The bar chart compares the amount of time each day that people from 4 different countries spent doing activities while on holiday in Greece in August 2019. The activities were going to the beach, visiting different attractions, and reading. All right, so this is summarizing. It's not giving any, it's not summarizing the data. It's just a basic summarization of what this graph is about. It's a bar chart comparing the amount each day from 4 different countries doing activities. And the activities were going to the beach, visiting different attractions, and reading. So they just basically told what this is. It's a chart, bar chart. It's comparing 4 countries and the activities they do and the activities. Okay, it didn't go into the specifics yet. Let's read the second paragraph. Overall, the tourists spent the most time reading books while they spent the least time visiting places. Okay, overall, the tourists spent the most time reading books. So overall, yeah, reading books is, according to this data, reading books is the most common activity overall, meaning if you added them all up. The Chinese tourists spent the longest reading books with a total of 8 hours per day. By contrast, the Brazilians spent the longest at the beach with a total of 6 hours. Okay, talking about the data. Both the American and the Turkish tourists spent the same number of hours every day visiting places with a total of 3 hours each. So the visiting places, American and Turkish, and Layla said that here, American Turkish equal in visiting. So there you go. Similarly, the Turkish and Brazilian groups spent a total of 4 hours each reading books. The Chinese tourists spent twice the amount of time reading books as the Turkish and Brazilian tourists, whereas the American and Turkish groups spent 3 times the amount of time visiting places as the Chinese groups. So comparing all that data. All right, so they quickly read the title, read what's happening on the left, read what's happening at the bottom and the colors. What does it all mean? And then they started to compare like we did very quickly. And then the first paragraph, what is this? What's happening? What's the question? Summarize the question in the bar chart. What's happening? Start going into the trends and then compare the data as you see it. Again, no opinion here, no opinion. So actually, this is a very high level summary here. So for the scoring, grammatical range and accuracy. So again, how's the grammar? How's the structures? And if we look, there's some pretty good sentence structures here. I'm looking, sentences like the Chinese tourists spent twice the amount of time reading books as the Turkish and Brazilian students, whereas the American and Turkish groups spent 3 times the amount of time visiting places as the Chinese group. That last sentence is a pretty sophisticated English sentence. There are lots of it's long. It's pretty good. Vocabulary range, accuracy. Yep. Vocabulary is great. Using words like compare and by contrast, similarly, all these transitions sentences are connecting words, and so on. Coherence, cohesion, it's very easy to understand. The grammar helps us to understand. And the task achievement. Did they summarize that graph? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They did a great job. So that's how we would score that. Okay, final tips. Read the instructions carefully. Now, for this one, you notice I didn't have the instructions because I wanted the whole chart on the screen. But when you see your homework later, read the instructions carefully. Take notes quickly before you write. So very quickly, just identify what the data is talking about very quickly before you start writing. Okay, what are you going to write about? Okay, Chinese read more than the other group, something like that. Check spelling and punctuation. You need perfect spelling and punctuation, right? And if we go back, every sentence starts with a capital letter. We have periods, we have commas. The spelling is correct. Brazilians in the middle, Greece, these have capital letters. Chinese, Turkish, all these countries have capital letters, correctly spelled. Of course, your writing might not be as perfect as this. That's okay. You do your best. You get the best score you can get. And write over 150 words. You don't want to write under 150 words. So again, this is a good size at 162 words, 3 paragraphs. That's what you need to do in 20 minutes. All right, here's your homework. I'll put a task one question in the video description. So below this video, it's not there yet. I'll do it after this video. I'll put a task one question. You will write a task one sample answer. Post your task one answer in the comments section. I cannot edit or make corrections, but I will give you a score. All right. So you're going to put your paragraph there. I'll read it. I won't have time to go through and correct all the mistakes. I might point out major mistakes, and then I'll give you a score. So that will be your homework. Due date is whenever, this is a big project. So whenever you're ready, come back to this video and you put the task. So if you're not watching this live, if you're watching this 6 months later, a year later, please do it. Come back, put the task one homework there whenever you can do it. There's no deadline to this homework. All right, questions? Are you guys in shock? This is what I have to do. How's your feeling after seeing this overview of task one? Let me know in the comments. Maybe everyone just quit Ielts. Anna Marie, I'm in shock. Why are you in shock? Again, this is something you need to practice. It will increase your level of English, right? It's taking you to a higher level. That's what we want to do. It's something new type of question in English. Remember, this is preparing students to go to university. And when they go to university, they're reading and studying all kinds of graphs and charts, depending on their major. And they got to be able to take the data and explain it in English. So it's very helpful to, 20 minutes is nothing. You can, you got to practice. My feeling with emoji. Well, it's not a crying emoji, so that's a good sign. I'll take it. It's a neutral. It's great. It's actually the first time I saw that. I appreciate it. Yeah, Eunice, you know what you need to do. You need to start practicing task one, and I'll give the homework. That's a good place to start. But with the homework, it's your first time. I know everyone's going to struggle with it. I'm not expecting genius answers. Don't worry. You just try to do it. But I suggest you time yourself. So put a stopwatch and check how much time it takes you to actually do this. And tell me the time too. You could put your homework and tell me, hey, Robin, this took me 2 hours. That's okay. At least you did it. And 2 hours, the next time, that's our time to beat. And if it took you 1 hour, okay, the next time, let's get it down to 50 minutes. And then the next one, let's get it quicker. And then let's get it quicker. And then we'll get that 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I'm in shock, but I will try this test to test my ability to how to get information. Lavanya, hello. Lots of difficulty. I need practice more. Yes, of course you do. That's why we're here. To increase your English ability to the professional level, these are the types of activities you need to do. You are worried, oh, this is hard. This is not hard. This is challenging, right? This forces you to think and write better. I think this first part would be easier than writing essay. We'll have all the data we need. Well, yes, there's one positive point. I didn't go into the next task 2 yet. When I do the task 2 video, maybe later this week or next week, all of you might be, oh, task one is so easy. We should care about grammar, punctuation, spelling, and only, of course, Layla, you can get to that level. Good idea to include the time we spent. Don't feel shame. I know nobody's going to do this in 20 minutes. I know. So if you said, hey, Robin, it took me 15 minutes to do this, you liar, you lie. I'm expecting some of you 1 hour. As always, practice is the key, but we are lazy. You don't say we, you don't judge other people. You just talk about yourself, and you're not lazy, Layla. There's no deadline to this homework. You do this whenever you feel you're ready. We should be more serious about English. If you're watching an Ielts video about task one, yeah, this is as serious as it gets. I've been practicing writing here more than ever with Ielts homework. Practicing here takes hours. That's what you need to do. Keep practicing. I'm lazy too. Well, you don't have to do nobody's forcing you to do the homework. Nobody's forcing you. All right, I'm going to finish up the live stream. Any last questions? Let me know. Sometimes when I do homework, I spend more than 1 hour. Well, it depends on the homework. It takes me over 1 hour to prepare these slides. I gotta get the information. I gotta summarize the information. I gotta put them on slides. It takes a long time. I'm working all this for you. You can give back some time and do your homework. James, is keeping a diary a good way to practice writing? Oh, with writing, yeah. If you want to do as much writing as you can do. You don't do IELTS writing task 1, task 2 practice every day. You got to practice all kinds of writing every day. Keeping a diary, just for your general English, just keeping a diary. Of course, a lot of you are in the social media, but social media is a different thing because a lot of people don't care about spelling, don't care about grammar, and the vocabulary is sometimes terrible. So keeping a diary is a really good way to improve your just writing, practice sentence structures, practice new vocabulary. And then, certainly don't do, as you get closer to the IELTS test, focus more on IELTS. But if your IELTS test is 6 months, 1 year away, keep up the general writing skills too. Just kidding, I'll do it. English is not easy at all. Again, you have those negative words, Layla. You got the wrong attitude. People need a positive attitude. I think everyone here can do it. Do you think it'll be easy for me one day with a lot of practice? Yes, everything becomes easier with practice. Yes, Layla, I think you can do it. I'm so serious to single homework. I decided to develop my English. Well, this is a serious topic and it will develop your English. IELTS is not easy, Layla. Again, IELTS is challenging. Let's not use hard or easy. Let's just say challenging. IELTS brings you to a new level. No time to waste. Time flies. Yes, I'm not negative. To do my homework. All right. That's it, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned about task 1. I will put the homework in the description of the video right after this this live stream. So thanks for watching, and yeah, we are learning not only about English, about writing, about expressing, about many things. I love it. Yeah, that's the attitude you need. I love it. Give me more homework. That's the only sentence I want to hear. I don't want to hear complaining. I only want to hear, Robin, give me more homework. You don't give enough. All right, thanks, Layla. All right, bye everyone, and do your homework.